Stories this week. Women bar owners cry out to government to officially open up their businesses. Housing Finance Bank and Buganda Kingdom sign a memorandum of understanding to develop affordable housing. The East African crude oil pipeline expected to have significant growth opportunity on the Central Corridor. And across the borders, World Economic Forum discusses global multidimensional challenges. With these and more, stay tuned because it's time for business. Women bar owners have decried the lengthy closure of their businesses due to the coronavirus restrictions. Now they appeal to government to officially consider reopening their sector. Their plea comes at a time when government is considering reopening schools in the coming weeks.
It is 10 months down the road since government announced a total lockdown of all sectors of Uganda's economy apart from the essential services. This was in a bid to curb the fast spread of the coronavirus. Over time, government has eased most of the restrictions, which has in turn spurred economic recovery. However, bars and clubs are still on lockdown to date.
I know it has been fighting for our lives, but on some extent we need also to live because we need an income. And these bars, they are employing people like barmen, waitresses, bouncers. So look at this population is seated at home. Seated at home without any income.
Juliet, the proprietor of Blue Point Bar, is one of the many businesswomen whose enterprises is on the edge of collapsing. The continued closure spells doom for this single mother's remaining bar and entertainment spot.
Kati abaana nina candidates babiri tebazzeeyo ku ssomero. Amabanja mangi simanyi bwegenda kumanejinga. Not being a single mother, business weddewo literally kimu nkitunze because we have to eat.
She has already closed one of her popular bars due to debts in addition to sacking all her staff.
They were both in Chireka. Kachirando dinagamba nti I'm demanding like where around media. Nagamba no, I cannot wait all this long. Just give me one shop. I get a tenant akolechi. I'm patient because nange this is my business. So what I could make is two places. Kati eyo bana ndi closing. That's so what I kusasula rent. Kati nensigaza wemu.
Her sentiments are re-echoed by some of the worst affected players in the sector.
Nze ndi mukyala ndi n'omwana wuno natandika bizinesi eno nga ndi lubuto nga yenyimirizaawo n'okusasula eddwaliro buli kimu naye up to now tebanaba tuggulawo tugezaako ne tuweeyo ne tutunda mazzi busoda naye byekwatagana n'omwenge byo tebanaba tulowoozaako ate nga bebituwa akasente akategerekeka sirikawo tulina ennaku.
Even the children are going back to school. These mothers, they don't have anything. They have lost all the business. They are out of the business because the small capital they had, they have already eaten it, used it. So where will they get the money to pay for the fees? They don't have anything left. But if they open the bars, they open where they are working from, they will start slowly and rise up. Yeah, and rise up and find they cater for their children.
Bars and clubs are cited among the top breeding ground for coronavirus globally. It is believed that after a few drinks, physical distancing and other forms of self-restraint might begin to disappear. However, the stakeholders in this sector are promising to adhere to the standard operating procedures for their own and the public's good.
So far, government has not yet given a hint on when they're planning to officially open the bars and the entertainment spots. For the business community like Juliet, who runs the bar here in Chireka, the painful wait has been too long. Dennis Igoa for UBC News in Chireka. Buganda Kingdom has signed a memorandum of understanding with the Housing Finance Bank to promote affordable and decent housing in Uganda. Now the two entities are to construct over 400 housing units in Sentema, Wakiso district.
Uganda's housing deficit stands at over 2.5 million units, with an increase of about 250,000 units per annum. This is attributed to the population explosion, poor quality of housing standards, and lack of proper planning of infrastructure access.
Some good houses don't have roads leading to them. You find neighbors fighting each other for access. In some areas, it's very difficult to have central sewage system because there is no planned road network.
We know that there are more cities that have been promulgated in this country now. We know that the urbanization rate in this country is one of the highest on the African continent, in the highs of 5.2% per annum. Now with that increasing urbanization, with the deficit, the need for housing cannot be overemphasized.
This has prompted Buganda Kingdom to partner with Housing Finance Bank to promote affordable housing for low-income earners in the country. Sentema Housing Units, a project implemented by Housing Finance Bank and Buganda Kingdom, focuses on developing 400 modern housing units.
A single roomed house goes for about 58 million Uganda shillings. That's about 16,000 US dollars. And then the two-bedroom unit will go for about 100 million. When you change it into dollars, it's about 28,000 US dollars. And the three-bedroomed house goes for $36,000. That's about 133 million Uganda shillings.
This initiative, particularly today, is to offer a particularly customized payment scheme made by us and Housing Finance Bank together to offer mortgage payment scheme, offer affordable mortgage payment scheme to all the buyers.
However, the government has been asked to play its part in facilitating the development of decent housing, which is critical in the social and economic growth of the country.
It's important, I think, private-public partnership doesn't have to be through agreements. It's something that the government needs to look at and work upon. I think it will develop the area, it will make the citizens happy, and who knows, government can get support for it.
Housing Finance Information Network estimates that by 2040, Uganda will have a housing shortage of nearly 8 million units, of which 2.5 million will be in urban centers and 1 million in Kampala city. Charlotte Muge for UBC.
Makerere University College of Education and External Studies has developed a framework paper geared at enhancing employability skills among the youth. Now, one of the key findings of the research points to a skills gap by educators due to a changing labor market dynamic. Now, the researchers emphasize on empowering the skillers to integrate employability skills in teacher-BITVET education.
The fight against youth unemployment has been on top of Uganda's national agenda for the last 2 decades. However, the unemployment rate among youth is still skyrocketing.
This is the gist of the matter. We want to say that the challenge continues, and many of them talk about the scarcity of jobs. Now we want to argue, the major argument we make, that the problem could actually be that many of these youth are actually unemployable.
Professor Fred Masagazi from Makerere University attributes Uganda's youth unemployment crisis to lack of employable skills to suit the labor market needs and the quality of educators.
We're engaging the teachers. These are the basics. Because when you don't engage the teacher training institutions, then something is missing. We are engaging teacher training institutions, the BTVET teacher training institutions, and the secondary school teachers, because these are the ones who are going to train our learners, the people who are going to work tomorrow.
His sentiments are re-echoed by Badru Mususi from Makerere University School of Education.
The key issue is more on the soft skill side. The technical hard skill side, we have no serious deficit there. So we are like, no education system, no education enterprise can be better than the quality of the educators.
To get an amicable solution, Makerere University College of Education and External Studies, with support from the Makerere Research and Innovation Fund, have conducted a research aimed at fixing existing gaps on employability skills in teacher and business, technical, vocational education and training (BTVET) education in Uganda.
If we provide employable skills to our youth, but we still leave them to go and seek for jobs, eventually they will still remain unemployed.
A framework paper has been developed basing on the research findings, which is soon to be shared with the Ministry of Education and Sports and other key education sector players.
Our emphasis is that as you make your plan to teach the simultaneous equation, what employability skills can you emphasize when you are teaching the simultaneous equation? They have aspects like critical thinking, they have aspects like problem solving, that there are different ways to solving a problem. And actually when we are teaching that, they will say you can solve this equation using this method or method. But what we fall short of is that now, just like in everyday life, every challenge has different solutions.
Key findings of the research include misconceptions and misinterpretation of employability skills in teacher BTVET education, institutions' lack of an employability skills curriculum integration model, assessment methods used in the teacher BTVET education largely ignores ES, and lack of the coherent employability skills implementation strategy. Dennis Sigoa and Robin Yoso for UBC News.
Uganda will fully utilize the Central Corridor, which has its gateway at the port of Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, in the implementation of its vast oil and gas project. Now, this has been disclosed by Ernest Rubondo, the Executive Director of Petroleum Authority of Uganda.
The Central Corridor will be the main import route for equipment and materials that will be used in the construction of the East African crude oil pipeline. It is estimated that investment in the ECO project will cost a whopping $3.5 billion. The oil refinery, whose construction will run concurrently with the pipeline construction, is also valued at over $3.5 billion.
This is a significant opportunity to develop receipt of goods, Ugandan goods at Tanzanian ports, but also to develop the movement of Ugandan goods through Tanzania. There's already been an established route between Dar es Salaam through Mutukula to Kampala, but now this project is based at Tanga, and so the Tanga route, and I don't recall where they join, the Dar es Salaam and the Tanga route must be joining somewhere, but that part from Tanga to that joining point is definitely now an opportunity to also develop that corridor. The other one, of course, is that there are now going to be two ports. You can get things through Tanga, you can get things through Dar es Salaam, and that will make the port more attractive.
According to the Petroleum Authority Uganda, the oil and gas project provides a significant opportunity to the Central Corridor to attract more cargo traffic.
It is a very big opportunity because of the volumes of things that are going to be used and imported and transported on that corridor. We will have an opportunity and we can share the volume of these goods, but you will appreciate that this is very significant for these things to be going through Tanzania and the ports to handle such things. So yes, it's a very significant growth opportunity, and as I indicated, there are not many projects this size in this region.
Uganda expects the signing of the final investment decision to take place within the first half of 2021. The FID will unleash another level of capital-intensive activities in the vast oil and gas value chain. Key amongst them is transport and logistics.
Certainly, Uganda and Tanzania have entered into the agreements they have to enter into. Uganda and Tanzania, respectively, have concluded the agreements called HGAs, which have to be concluded with the pipeline company. We are now concluding agreements between the shareholders of the pipeline, because the shareholders of the pipeline are the companies producing the oil, including Uganda's own national oil company and also the Tanzania Petroleum Development Company. So these companies need to come together and form a pipeline company. And you to come together, they will be under an agreement. So those are some of that is one of the agreements that is outstanding. There is also a tariff and transportation. The owners of the crude have to agree with the owners of the pipeline on the methodologies of how they load the crude and how they charge it.
As a result of the discovery of oil and gas resources in Uganda and the planned investments to develop these resources, including the ECOP, there is an expectation of a significant economic upturn, as well as the creation of new jobs and business opportunities. The reality, however, will be different if the local MSMEs do not have the capacity and experience to participate in oil and gas activities.
With the road infrastructure on the central corridor in good condition, especially on the Tanzanian side, what remains is the realigning of the customs and enhancement of the speed of clearing goods at the ports and the borders, argues Ernest Rubondo, the Executive Director, Petroleum Authority of Uganda. Dennis Igoa and Robin Yoso for UBC Business.
In our corporate news, Uganda Insurers Association and Uganda Investment Authority have signed a memorandum of understanding to create an enabling environment for small and medium enterprises. Now, the MOU seeks to strengthen the intersection between investment and insurance towards the development of a successful business.
Over 900 small and medium enterprises will be trained in entrepreneurship skills and sensitized on the benefits of insurance, which will ensure long-term survival and sustainability of these enterprises.
Close to about 600 SMEs have been approached in 10 districts and 10 clusters, which is quite commendable. We all know the survival of an SME past a year could be neither here nor there. And most importantly, that is when we see insurance coming in to provide risk management and mitigation.
The Memorandum of Understanding pays attention to agriculture and its value chain, given the high level of risks the farmers and small and medium enterprises face, the innovation in this space, as well as the utilization of agriculture insurance.
Majority of SMEs, especially the farmers, we recommend them to come into an association along their cluster basis and just register within the district so they are known and are traceable. So formalization doesn't mean that we are asking them to go and, and take big registrations. No, it's being known, have an address, and be within the business environment.
Risk management was highlighted as a critical part of every business model, and so ensuring that businesses see the value of insurance to protecting and promoting their businesses is paramount.
But we are also cognizant of the fact that Ugandans need more support to be able to catch up with, especially in the financing capitalization area. And UIA is trying to team up with some other packages, providers which are not direct lending, things like joint ventures and so on and so forth, to sort of have different ways of providing capital for development of our investors, local investors here.
Sharon Chomdasha, UBC Business.
On the global scene, the World Economic Forum Davos agenda has concluded after a week long of meetings involving heads of state, CEOs, international civil society leaders and global media. Now at the forum, multidimensional global challenges were forecasted.
It was the final day and much had already been said and agendas set out. But from the European Union there was a final reminder that the challenges ahead are multidimensional and that as a bloc it recognised the need for more rather than less engagement.
For Europe to continue to grow, to sustain the level of prosperity, it's important that we are connected to this global growth, and for this we need open trade and investment.
Climate change dominated the 2021 forum. Nevertheless, a display of determination by the Prime Minister of Japan for a green and digital future was welcomed.
By 2035, we will achieve 100% of electric vehicles among its new passenger vehicle sales. In Japan, we present an ambitious objective for 2030 before COP26.
The theme this year had been the Great Reset, a sustainable rebuild after COVID. But it was the resetting of geopolitics that aired some of the week's most memorable positions from a panel of experienced international diplomats.
My observation is that the current new U.S. administration needs time to estimate what are the areas it has to cooperate with China and what are the areas it needs to manage with China, avoiding conflicts. And for the Chinese side, I think we also need to reflect and observe what is the intention, what is the next move.
You know, the world is a very complicated place, and reality is not clean cut. I always say reality is very messy. And I think the job of leaders at national level and global levels is to manage that messiness and find solutions that are beneficial to all. Win-win, understand each other, and try to find ways that are beneficial to all sides.
The challenges declared this week couldn't be greater. There was plenty of consensus, although no guarantees that long-term agreements would follow. Andrew Wilson, CGTN.
You need to know that 50% of our visitors in the years past have been East Africans, and the majority really Ugandans. And so the perception that Ugandans don't visit is not correct. Ugandans visit, but we need more to come. We need more to come so that they enjoy the nature that God has given them. Climb the hills of Windy or drive on the plains of Karamoja and enjoy the God-given gifts that we have. In our Sounds of Business, we showcase a busy day on Ntinda Bukoto Road. Ntinda, located in Nakao Division, is one of the fastest growing suburbs in Kampala, whose growth has been influenced by the influx of residential areas and the presence of non-governmental organizations. Enjoy. As we conclude, we have good news today. The Business Roundup has extended its broadcast to UBC Radio 98.0 FM, broadcasting all over the country to cater for radio listeners. Now, Business Roundup will be airing every Friday at 10:30 p.m. on UBC Radio. Otherwise, thank you for being a part of this week's episode. My name is Wadulo Arnold, and we're coming to you from Kampala Serena Hotel. From the team, we must say good night.